Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is video number 7. We got some powder coat back, including the front and rear frame. So we're going to be going over that and assembling it. And then Dakota is going to be telling you what he's going to be doing.
So when powder came back, we had some parts that kind of got a little powder in there. So we're going to have to hit it with the Dremel and sand that down. You want your ignition to sit flush on there. So since there's just a little bit of powder, hit it with the Dremel, clean it all off, and that will sit flat. Along with the race, when they powder coat, they have to do sandblasting. So it just gets a little bit rough. I'd take 1,000 grit sandpaper, just kind of smooth it out a little bit, just so you don't have any grinding in the bars whenever you're turning. So we'll go ahead and bring you guys in closer, and we'll start with the dremeling. All right, so we're gonna start dremeling. We got a little sander on here. Dremel, we're probably gonna put it anywhere between 4,000 to 6,000 RPMs, nothing too crazy. And you're going to sand down each of these little rings. There's 3 different ones, just back down to the bare middle. And just like that, all 3 are sanded, and your ignition now will sit nice and flush on there. You don't want it sitting too far out, because this part right here has to sit pretty perfectly inside that battery box. It has a little notch. So if that doesn't sit flat, it'll kind of push itself out, and you're going to have problems putting it in the battery box. So while we still have everything taped off as well, we're going to take 1,000 grit sandpaper and sand the inside of this race. It's already pretty smooth for the most part, but might as well just get it done now. So now that everything's done being sanded, you also have this lower one as well. So we'll have to do that once I unwrap the frame. So we're going to unwrap the frames, and then we're going to start putting everything together. First off, we're going to put the 2 frames together. That's going to be the easiest part, and then we'll move forward to the front.
Alright, so I've got the complete TRS bolt kit in black. That's going to be the 4 frame bolts with the big dress-up washers. So I'm going to open up that now and get that going. We're going to Loctite them as well.
While Savannah's putting in the frames, I'm going to be holding it. You can definitely do it by yourself. It's not really that heavy. You can just do it with one person, but since we have 2 people here, I'll hold it while she's bolting it in.
I opened the entire container.
Just be careful. It's like super liquidy. It'll go everywhere.
Not a lot. Back this way.
Just screw it with your hand first. Once you get 2 of them in, you could pretty much just let go of it.
Magic. I'm gonna have Dakota do extra little manly wrench.
Now the 2 frames are together, we're going to pull everything back, and we're going to begin working on the front half of the bike. So you should be able to kind of lightly put it all together, loose, and slide it right over the triple tree. Where'd my bolts go out for this?
Right here.
Okay.
Careful, SpongeBob.
Once those are in, I'm going to have Savannah thread the bolts in through the back.
You guys come here often?
There's our triple tree that got back from powder. Has just a little bit of powder in here. So we're going to sand that out with 1000 grit sandpaper. Alright, so we're going to be putting the triple tree in after you've sanded the insides of these, if any powder or residual shit has got in there. Can't even see myself.
Yeah, go lower. Get on your knees. Alright, while Dakota tinkers with that, I'm going to grease this bearing.
Now that the bottom bearing is all greased, we'll slide it up through the shaft. And we're also going to grease the top bearing as well. That's what Savannah's doing now.
Yeah, you like that?
You look like a perv, you're not even in the camera. Alright, so you're going to need a really big crescent wrench or a pipe wrench to tighten down this nut. So I'm going to have Savannah hold this triple tree while I tighten the nut so I don't move around. You kind of remind me of like my brothers when they asked me to play the video games. I'm sure it's my turn. It's kind of what you remind me of when you're standing there like that. Just so you're aware.
She said to take me to the pool with you.
I'm making sure parts go on correct.
Well, they would if the thing can lock on there. How'd you get that thing to stick on there, dude? Can't get it to wrap around it for my life.
You gotta spit on it.
What? It just keeps slipping right off.
So you want this to move pretty freely, so you're not fighting it when you're running. I think that's all right.
Thanks, Ryan.
Alright, had to have Ryan help us because couldn't figure it out. After that, you have a little locking nut.
Do it like makeup.
A locking nut. There's a little hook piece, and on your triple tree, you'll see a little slat. It slides right into that slat, just like that. Next, you'll have the nut, your makeup. You have the nut. And that's just like a locking nut. You don't want to put it too tight. You want this to be able to rotate freely. This crescent wrench I do know how to use, like the other one. And you'll have a little foam piece, and that's just going to slip right on the top, just like that. So now that your triple tree is all put together, everything's moving freely, you don't have any restrictions, we're going to slide the forks on and install the headlight bracket as well.
So we're going to be installing the PSP forks. They're the disc brake ones in black. In a different video, Ryan's gonna be doing a whole front end video, but for now, me and Dakota are just gonna be installing the forks and a little light.
Don't forget your red Loctite. Loctite every single bolt on the bike, always. So if you have the headlight bracket and light, take the light off the bracket because you're gonna have to get to these bolts back here. And while I slide that in, I'll also hold this. All you have to do is just get this top nut in because there's a little ridge on here and that will actually lock this from sliding down. Make sure you lock tight the bolts as well. Put one of them in there. And once that bolt goes in, it's not going to slide around, and we'll repeat the same thing on the other side. You good? What? Now that your forks are installed, you can go ahead and put the headlight back on.
Brother, these are tight.
Yeah, meant to be. All right, so once your headlight is installed, you can go ahead and install a new employee. Anywho, you can go ahead and install the ignition. There is two little nuts. And there's little holes by this ignition that these will actually slide down into. And that's how it's going to bolt in. So I'll drop those down. And then we'll have Savannah go ahead and install this. Once you cut the bolts out, you're just going to use some M6. These are M6 by 20s. And they'll go right back in.
Your arm is just taking up the entire screen.
That's okay.
It'll buff out, Ryan. It'll be fine.
It's like a hand model. Just showing your...
It's you that forearm.
All right, so the final step to what we're doing today is we're going to be putting in the battery. It comes with little, well, okay, foam pads. You'll have to put them in here to raise the battery up. So I'm going to go ahead and let Savannah take care of that.
I hate this tool.
Don't cut that out.
How does it work so well?
You missed the bolt twice.
Step one, get socket on bolt.
It's like when you give your son like a racket and tell him to use it.
I don't like it.
All right, so now the battery's installed, we're still waiting on a few miscellaneous parts. So we're going to slide the frame back, and we're actually going to show you guys how to install the carbon key guard. Some people have trouble with it. There's different ways to do it. So we're going to show you the way we do it. So I'll bring you guys in closer and we'll get to it. So we're going to go ahead and show you guys how to install it. Here's the carbon key guard. You should only really have to put it on 3 little spots. You're going to put a little bit, and kind of flip it and show you guys. A little bit right here, not too close to this edge, because when you push this down, you don't want it to spill out, because then you're going to have a real big problem. So just a little bit in the middle, and a little bit to this left side. I'll put it on my finger, kind of smear it, it'll be a little bit better. You won't have that blowout whenever you push it down. The way we're going to do it is just with some silicone, if we can get it to focus. All right, well, that's the best we're going to do. So we're going to do it with the silicone. Some people do 3M tape, but whenever you do that, this will actually rise off the battery box because 3M is kind of thick. So it's not going to sit completely flush, and it's just not going to be a clean look. You can also do it with black RTV, but silicone works best. I'll kind of bring you guys in, show you. I'm going to do a little right here, a little over here, and a little right here. So I'll put more, of course, and bring it around. Use a little more. Now that it's nice and coated, we're going to go ahead and stick it on. Let me take my gloves off because now they're all nasty. And I'm doing it backwards. So whenever you put it on, be very careful. You don't want to misalign this. Just go straight down.
Careful, SpongeBob.
How's that look, Ryan? So once it's on there, you're going to use masking tape to hold this down to let the silicone dry. And really, it's that easy. Let this dry for about 24 hours and you'll have a nice secure bond. Take the tape off and you won't have any issues. So we're going to go ahead and end off this video real quick. All right, so now the battery box is done and everything is put on the bike. We're still waiting on a few miscellaneous parts. So once those start coming in, we'll continue on and get to the next video. We hope you guys are enjoying the content. You know, this is something we're kind of working hard on. So we hope you guys enjoy it. And we'll catch you in the next video.